What's going on, people? It's Mr. Dore back again with the review show. And I think it's getting a bit boring now, isn't it? When you just keep winning and winning and winning and winning. It gets a bit boring, isn't it, people? So I might have to change up the content a little bit because I know every time I come on, it's like we just repeat ourselves. So I might just play back what we said last time. And yeah, we won again, people. 2-0 away at Brentford. Beat them first time since, I think it was Championship days. First time we beat them at the new ground, but last time we beat them was at the old ground. But this time it was just a good performance as well against a team that's not lost at home. But now Thomas Frank can't say absolutely nothing at all. People in the chat, if you're new to the channel, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. And if you have watched the vlog after the stream, go and watch it. It's a great vlog as well. And so happy for 3 points. But happy Christmas to everyone as well. But yeah, everyone get involved. Right, let's get the panel in. First of all, got the man himself, Glenn. How you doing, Glenn?
Yeah, very well, very well. It was good to see the both of you at the GTEC yesterday, and yeah, what a result! Didn't expect it going in, hoped for it, but didn't expect it, and delighted to see how well we played against a team that hadn't lost, only drawn there in 9. So yeah, nice. Great.
I've got another man himself. He's not drunk. He's not done a run-in today. He seems like he's done a run-in. The man himself, Des Holden. How you feeling, Des, after yesterday's win?
I'm feeling fine, and I was up bright and early running this morning, Dore. So get your facts right before you start laying it in. It was a tough one to be honest.
I thought it'd be nice, Des. I thought it'd be nice.
It was a tough one after a long day yesterday, but a really enjoyable day beating XGFC.
I don't know if you ever saw Thomas Frank's interview after the game. Oh, I don't want to talk about it, man, but it is what it is, people. But yeah, people get involved. We can talk about the game. We know Spurs and Liverpool playing, so if you can keep us updated with the score. But let's start with you, Glenn. Big 3 points, top 4. How do you feel about the whole game?
Yeah, it seemed to be a bit of a cagey start, didn't it? I think the new look back 3, the 3 of them not having started before, took a little bit of getting used to. I think Brian Bromo was down that right hand side, giving Morata quite a hard time. The first couple of touches, he wasn't overly assured, and we had a couple of situations, didn't we, where particularly Sells had that save low to the right within the first 10-15 minutes. But after that, we seemed to be settling down, and it gave, the back 5 gave an opportunity for Williams and Aina to bomb on a little bit, and in the end, that was the deciding factor for the goal, wasn't it? That low cross across the 6-yard box towards a penalty spot. I don't know how much Wood saw of it or whether he just swung his foot at it, but in the end, it was a lovely caress goal for Aina, and then there only seemed to be one outcome. From then on, it just looked like it was a relatively comfortable run out. Although all of the players at the end, didn't they look really, really tired, and it looked like they worked really hard, particularly for the way that they'd played. Elliot Anderson obviously looked within the hour very, very tired, and obviously was right to come off. And we had a bit of a change in Dominguez and Yates, who came on just after the hour, didn't they? But yeah, there only seemed to be one winner, and against the team, like you say, Dore, that have scored. I worked out 26 goals in the 9 games they'd had there, and they didn't seem to really. Sorry,
I've got the same as well, Glenn. Don't worry about it. I've got my hat on.
Didn't seem to struggle us too much. I think Sells had 3 really critical saves. Saying that though, but other than that, didn't have a lot to do. I think the security that comes from a back 3 of Morata, who settled in, as I said, and played the 30 to the hour really, really comfortably, and Murillo, who had a phenomenal game again, really, bossed everything. That comfort that comes from a midfield pair that were deflecting a lot of the stuff. And Steve and I were talking about how well we just managed to marshal the way they were attacking, and they weren't really dominating they were dominating the ball, but they weren't really giving us anything to overly think about. They were just playing the ball around and weren't really penetrating a lot. And when it did come through, Murillo and Milinkovic were just doing that little side on arm behind the shoulder and parrying stuff away. The only thing with that is that there was a spell, wasn't there, about 50 minutes or so where they had a lot of possession and we weren't really able to do too much about it. We're kicking a lot of ball away, and whereas in the first half perhaps we might have taken an extra second just to play that ball off, and certainly in the second half there was a couple of situations where Murillo was playing a lovely couple of balls to Callum Hudson-Odoi on that our side, on the far side, and had that just extra thinking time and just able to play the ball out a little bit better. There was a spell where we were just kicking a lot of ball away and really just a bit of a bailout job. But at no point did Sells really look like he was stretched, other than that one save he had in his face, I think, didn't he?
Yeah.
But other than that, we played extremely well. I don't think anybody had a bad game. Everybody came on and did their bit. It was lovely to see the changes in the end, including who came on left back?
Toffolo.
Who it was lovely to see him have a couple of minutes at the end and make a stake for a start against Luton, perhaps when we play in the cup on the 11th of January. So it was really good to see those players coming through and in using all the bench again. I think that, Des said tactical masterclass a couple of weeks ago, particularly against Villa. I think the decision making they're doing in terms of when to make the substitutions and the substitutions they're making is really reaping the rewards in terms of giving us that flexibility going forward beyond the hour, as and when the game changes. If we're holding on, if we're chasing a game, if we're doing like against Villa where we're looking to get an equaliser or another goal, there's other options coming on. And it was, again, yesterday, really, really straightforward last half an hour without that much concern. So yeah, really, really good performance, good squad performance, and some really good tactical decisions from the gaffer. Yeah, really good.
Des, again, what Des? When you saw the lineup, Des, how did you feel? Because it's the first time we played a back three with Morgan's White answer in that centre-midfield role. But what was your opinion when you saw the team?
I was slightly surprised. I didn't quite pick up on everything Glenn said there, so sorry if I don't if I repeat some of it, because the signal's terrible here in the storm. But anyway, I was quite surprised when I saw it, but not too surprised. We've seen Morata come in and do a really good job. Brilliant last 20 minutes last week when he came on for Murillo. And again, the more I think about it, the more it was a tactical masterclass again, because Brentford are a brilliant football side. Let's make no bones about it. They're absolutely fantastic. The way they move the ball, the triangles, particularly at home. Obviously, before yesterday, they'd hardly dropped a point. They move the ball. They get amongst. They get the ball into the box very, very quickly, and the three of them, Sharda and Bremo and Vita, just kind of interchanging a lot. One of them dropping off, one of them filling in, one of them going wide, and just moving around all the time. And what they do, they get the ball into the penalty area very, very quickly. So Forest have obviously tried to go with as many as they can in there to combat that. I did catch Glenn say a bit shaky at the start. He was a bit. I think they surprised us a little bit with the pace and the power they had, and then Bremo coming in off that wing against Morata caused a few real issues. So I think, again, as we tend to do in many games, we had to settle into it. We had to soak a lot up. We had to deal with what Brentford were doing to us. I thought Damsgaard was fantastic in the middle. Behind those, just first touches. There was one ball he ran onto and volleyed it down the line. and they had a lot of second balls as well. Do you know, they won the first balls, but they had a lot of seconds. So Forest had to really sort of grind it out. And I did think Forest contributed a little bit at the start. In fact, they looked a little bit shaky. You know, they didn't quite get to grips with the game. Anderson and Gibbs White gave the ball away a couple of times in the midfield. Murato, obviously, when he kicked that one up in the air, you know, he looked a bit shaky for a few minutes.
First 20
As the
minutes.
game wore on,
First 20 minutes with Morata, I think.
yeah, as it wore on and everybody got used to the positions, I think it's a masterclass because for me, and I said it on my report, I said it in a few places. Murillo was head and shoulders. I'll tell you now before you ask me at the end. Murillo was the man of the match by an absolute street. You know,
Definitely.
he was fantastic. He was phenomenal. Do you know? And again, I've been raving how much Milenkovic adds to his game, and it allows him to do the Brazilian defender type things. Do you know he does? But having the two of them there, it just went to another level again. It was almost like the sweeper. So every time someone got through, he was there, crash. You know, he was sidestepping people off the ball. He was playing the ball quickly towards Hudson-Odoi, especially when the game opened up later on, when Hudson-Odoi had that extra second or two to it's 5-1 to Liverpool. No, it's not. It's missed.
It's 4-1. It's 4-1 still.
But especially, like I said, especially when the game opened up, I thought Murillo and the chance to run out again. There was a couple of those moments where he ran out, a bit like he did when he first signed, but he's got extra insurance when there's two of them in there. So he can become that extra player sometimes going up the pitch. So I think obviously he's there essentially to defend, and that's what we did. It took a bit of getting used to, but we stayed in the game. And this is a strength for Forest at the moment. I was talking to you very briefly, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it. Spurs, you know, it's about staying in the game initially because they've got some real attacking players, but you can get amongst them. And we did that against some really good sides of late. You know, of course, Man United, they're crap, to be honest, but Villa, you know, and then Brentford are going really well, especially Brentford on their own pitch. And look at Villa's result yesterday. So these are not bad football sides where we're really getting stuck in, grinding it out, ultimately getting the result. It's not always pretty. I thought there was one real key element to that first goal yesterday, and that's what changed the game. The goal changed the game. Let's make no bones about it. It wasn't a brilliant moment, but Anderson just played a direct forward pass quickly, like Brentford were doing. We wasn't making many of those passes, but all he did, he picked the ball up from the defence, and it was a straight pass into Hudson-Odoi. It was just a quick movement, and that's what made the goal for me. Because then he got the ball wide to Nico, and Nico did well to beat his man and put it back. And then, yeah, it comes across the box. But without that forward movement, without that quick speed of thought, where we'd not settled into the game particularly well, you know, we don't score that goal. When you score the first goal, Forest put out the tweet a couple of weeks ago, we've done it more than any other team this season. And look where we're sitting in the table. And that changed the game then, because Brentford had to come at us a little bit more. What's surprising me is the way Forest come out after half time. We seem to be a team who comes out after half time and put games to bed. What's all that about?
Mad,
we
isn't
did
it?
that.
Mad.
We managed to play the ball forward. Again, what I really liked about that, you know, there's this modern way of playing, which I've been moaning about for months, saying not everybody has to play like Man City. Forest are not. You know, when the ball needs to go long, it goes long. And you see sometimes, don't get me wrong, I'm not an advocate for long ball and all that kind of thing. But when it goes long, when you're under pressure, it can quickly turn. Keane Lewis Potter, who I also thought was excellent going forward and very dangerous, you know, sort of miskicks it, tries to control it, and then Elanga, who'd not had the best game. Again, goals change football matches. 2-0.
He deserves goal though. He deserves his goal though, Des.
Oh no, it was a brilliant goal. It was a brilliant finish, but he'd not played particularly well till that point. He played well after, you know, but everyone's got the tails up and then we had a bit more space. Like Glenn says, we couldn't get out. But again, at that point, what do you expect Brentford to do as a good football side? They're going to put you under a bit of pressure. You know, we know the way Thomas Frank. I also find them a very lucky side in the way, but you make your own luck You know, a lot of the time, a lot of ricochets fall into the right areas, and we've seen it with goals in the past. But yesterday we did everything right. You know, we did our job. Nuno set it up. Like I say, took a bit of getting used to, but once they got their sort of head around the game and what Embremo and now it's 5.
Nice 5.
What Embremo and Visa and Sade were doing, it ultimately, like, I think Sade got subbed. They didn't really offer too much, and we joke about the XG. What Thomas Frank actually said in his
I don't take that. I don't take the notes for the XG, whatever,
no,
YZ or whatever. It's
but
all
Thomas
crap.
Frank does.
It's all crap.
Thomas Frank does, doesn't he? And the reality is, we out XG'd them. But what he did come with in his interview was, for all their pressure, so what? You know, goals change football matches at the end of the day, and Nuno set that team up to score in a specific way, you know, and to take the game. And I'd expect much of the same in the next couple of games, 2 winnable games. It feels, you know, because they've got defences. Although Everton have been tight of late, you know, next 3 games, Tottenham, Everton, and Wolves, I feel we can get at their defences, because that's their weak.
Don't say that. Right, let me pause you, Des. I know we're 4th place, man, but come on, man, Des. Just don't get high horse about these games. Gonna be easy, man. Just calm down a little bit.
That's not what he's saying. He's saying that there were some fans that were saying we get 7 points out of these 12 available, and we've got 9 already.
Who said that?
I think it's quite right to say, Des, although Everton played well today and they were worthy of the point, that the other two opposition were just seeing a tap in from Salah here.
I know, I've just seen it.
That it's going to be a really close game, far closer than it has been against Spurs in the last sort of 2 or 3 times we played against them.
My point is, though, guys, my point is, Dore, right? I'm not saying we're going to go out and beat them, because I said to you before, come on, if Spurs come at us, they can tear us apart. You know, they can tear us apart. I'm not saying we're going to win the game. I just think the teams we've got in the next 3 games, with our pragmatic approach, if we stick in the game the way we have done, you know, and we've had to do that in the last 3 games, we've had to stick in there at times, because it's not all been on our terms. I believe the teams we're coming up against, Everton can't score for toffee. No pun intended. But they've not scored for about 10 games or something like that. They can't score. So if we stay in that game, obviously we're going to get chances, you know. And Tottenham, you're going to get chances against this back 4. You're going to get chances against Wolves, you know, because they're all over the place, these teams. But again, it's not me saying we're going to go out and win these games, because it's the Premier League and anything could happen. What I'm saying is, we're now in a position, if we play well, you know, if we do our job, we can turn these teams over. You know, we can do it. Whereas like over the past couple of seasons, we weren't in a position to play our game. You know, we had to rely on too much absorbing too much pressure, flukes, you know, pot shots, things like that. Now, if we play our game and we're proving it week in, week out, we're breaking teams down. You know, and that's so important, to have a foothold on the game from the outset, even when you're under pressure. That's what I've seen from Forest, so it's really positive.
75, 80 minutes, and if it's 1-1, I can only see one outcome. I think if we keep going, we can get in and get a result out of it. If we're behind, we can do what we did against Villa, and I can see us really trying to battle something out, maybe dragging a point or maybe even nicking it. If we're leading, the way our substitutions are going, we'll bring Bolly on or a 4th centre half, and we'll see the game out. I think we're these sorts of fans who are seeing Forest being Forest, and we're seeing Spurs being very Spursy here, and we can hold on and get something out of it. I totally agree with what you're saying there, Des, in that respect.
People, please do hit the like button and subscribe if you're new, and comment below. People, any questions that you want to ask me, Des, or Glenn about yesterday's game, please do. Let's talk about Ella Enos. No, let's do Glenn. Ella Enos' goal, because I think it was a well-taken goal again, and you got to praise Nico Williams as well, because I thought, I think we'll put it together. Nico Williams played fantastic. He had to deal with Bema as well, but He made assist, set Lerner's goal, but it was just a great goal for the team, wasn't it?
It was, and the great thing about our team, I'll get back to the goal shortly, is that we're playing and scoring across the board. I think the number of goals we've had is Wood's obviously got the 10. Gibbs White, Alanga, Milinkovic, and Hudson-Odoi and Aina have now, there's 5 of them have scored 2 goals each. So there's strength in depth and goal scoring threats right across the board. It's not one sole player who the opposition are obviously marking out the game, and it becomes very Everton-like, Des, in your respect, is that they've not really got any other options to score from. The more we can have goal scorers across the board and threats across the edge of the box, the more challenging it's going to be to defences to try and combat against that. And you're right, Dore. The way that Williams was playing, particularly without the ball yesterday, he was being really attacked by Brian and Burma. It was all coming down our left-hand side, their right. He was tweeting at the end about being extremely tired. I'm not surprised, because when we had the ball, he was bombing on. When we didn't have the ball, he was being tested quite a lot by Burma, particularly in the first half, a little bit in the second half, but more so in the first half. And yeah, the patient play, obviously, is. We were talking before. I don't know whether you, Dore, or I was talking to Dave. The goal that he set up against Villa last weekend was really showing the maturity in the way Williams is playing out, and the options that is created from where he was picking up that ball just on the edge of the penalty area last weekend, and the options he had to lay the ball forward. In the end, he chose to play that ball forward to Gibbs White, who crossed over for Milinkovic's goal. And again, very patient play, played exactly the right position to beat his man, like you said, Des, and play that ball across. And Aina stroked it in, and the quality of his play, and it's incredible, isn't it? He's for free transfer. You get some wing backs or some defenders in that situation kicking it way over the bar and ends up in the car park. He played the ball really sweetly, just caressed it through, very similar to the goal he scored against Villa last season, where it came across the edge of the box from Toffolo, if you remember, and he just caressed it in exactly the same sort of situation. And it really does show his quality as a goal scorer and as a defender, because it was obvious that he was very tired as well. And there was a stage, wasn't there, about 70 minutes or so, that he was basically on his hands and knees behind the goal, trying to get his breath back. Patiently played the rest of the game, not really pushing on all that much, just doing the very, very basics, laying the ball off when he could, and just keeping us in the game in that respect. So really well taken goal, really mature performance, and a really good defensive, and also offering that options going forward that the back 5 provides. So yeah, phenomenal play from Williams to get the ball across, and from Aina to score, and both of them showing that Alex Moreno is being held, obviously kept out of the squad, and Williams is quite rightly our left back in that situation for the foreseeable future. Now he's playing extremely well.
Question, Glenn, before I get to that, do you think Aina's, I'm going to be biased because we're Forest fans, do you think he's one of the best wing backs in the league?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah,
he's showing
who's been out there, who's been the best right back, left back in the Premier League.
Yeah, he's certainly in the regularly in Shearer and others' team of the week, just simply because he does everything right. He makes the odd mistake, but when he does, he uses his pace to get back, and he makes a very sensible decisions. And he's scoring goals. He scored 2 already this season. He's got a couple of assists as well last season, and Williams has now got a couple of assists as well. Just want Williams to have a little bit more of the situation where he can get himself in and score. So the 9 goal scorers across the team, Aina's certainly being one of those that, in the position he's playing, he's doing everything right, making, like I said, making some really good mature decisions, uses his pace to his advantage, and very, very rarely makes an error. Obviously, he's throwing in at set pieces gives us that other element as well. So yeah, he's providing everything we need back there. And again, I'll say it again, what a bargain, what a find. He's obviously fitting in extremely well with the dressing room and is really seen to be a leader off the field and on, and he's doing the right thing. He's doing the goods and he's scoring goals for us when we need to. Yeah,
100%. I think you did touch on Elanga. I'm talking about second goal as well, because I think, as we all know, he scored his goal last week against Villa. His goal, he took his goal again, very good yesterday. Do you think this is a season to start for him now, because we are fourth in the league and now he's got to be like, I want people to talk about him now more consistently because of him playing good now, because he's had a setbacks, but now he's got two back-to-back goals. Do you think it's time to step up now, Des, for Elanga to say, okay, I'm here now. I want to prove a point for Nuno to keep starting me.
Well, absolutely, because I don't think he's necessarily one of the first names on the team sheet. Not that he's not an asset. I don't think he had a particularly great. He's had a particularly great season. I'm not saying he's been terrible, but at times he's been a bit in and out. And look, I always say it. I always refer back to the reason we've got Elanga is because he's not consistent. He's not consistent. He wasn't consistent at United. That's why he didn't push for a first team place more. So that's why teams like us end up getting him and hope to bring him on. Give him more game time and make him better. Last season, he's shown a lot of consistency at times. His numbers stacked up. It's just not quite been there. But yeah, when he's on fire, he's unplayable. Like running at you like he was for that goal yesterday reminded me in some ways of the goal he scored against Chelsea last season. You ain't catching him. He can finish. He can finish when he's in position, but I just feel he could be even more of an asset. And this is not a criticism. He drifts it a little bit in and out of games. I always think at the City ground, especially, or when we've got them in the team away, him and Hudson-Odoi, must be frightening for defences. So I like to see it when they both play, but sometimes, and again, I don't want to get on the bandwagon and try and find a scapegoat, because I think just about everybody's on top of their game individually.
Yeah.
I just think he could give a little bit more at times. There was a few people around me getting a bit frustrated with him in the first half. Balls bouncing off him. It wasn't sticking very much, and obviously with the way Brentford were playing,
5-2 now.
It was a bit nerve-wracking, wasn't it? But no, he's okay. I just want to go back to Aina, and I think Aina's a great sort of player to sort of measure him against, even though he's a completely different player in a different position. Glenn used the word maturity in his performance. Aina, for me, he's a bit like Elanga, and he plays with a lot of personality. He plays. You can almost sense where he's at as a person. If he's in a good place, if he's in a happy place, he's absolutely flying. And I think this is how Elanga could sort of look at that and go, do you know what? We're flying here. I can be flying in this team, because I think Aina at times questioned him over the poor spells we've had in previous years. But you can see it's all about the information he's been given, the way he's taking it on board. Last week he was asked to do a different job. That made this week's performance even more impressive, because he's adapting to Nuno's tactics and Nuno's thoughts. Sometimes I'd just like to see a little bit more from Elanga in that sense. A little bit more sort of team play, adapting to the game a bit quicker. Look, he scores the winning goal. I don't care what he does for 89 minutes. It doesn't really matter in a performance like that. But you asked me specifically about him, and I just think just lacking that little bit of consistency. And to just sort of answer your question in a couple of words, yes, he should be absolutely flying. He should be one of the first names on the team sheet, because when he's on song, I just don't think there's many better. His pace is just absolutely sailing.
But there's this question: would you swap Elanga for Rashford at plus 30 million?
Who gets 30 million?
Man U.
Probably.
I know. It doesn't
Let's
question
not,
Mark.
look, I've had plenty. I've had plenty to say about Marcus Rashford as well and his lack of application. But let's not get it wrong. Marcus Rashford's a very, very, very good player.
Yes.
You know,
I think someone down there had a question on the radio yesterday, wasn't it, Glenn? Did you answer that question about Rashford?
I answered that question on 606 last night, saying it's a bit rich for us. Our wage structure, I don't think it will hold up. However, though, I did say even, and I didn't say this, but I meant to say this. Even the manager is a person who has benefited from coming out to a club and having a really bad spell at Spurs, bit of time in Saudi, and has come and flourished here. Alanga's flourishing here in a certain extent, certainly more consistent. Aina is, Hudson-Odoi is, to a certain extent, you could say Morgan Gibbs-White, whose career was going on loan to Chef U and is now blossoming as a result of coming to Forest. So all of these players are benefiting from coming and playing with other like-minded players who are having a little bit of a change of direction in their career and are benefiting as a result of playing together. Why not Rashford as well? It might be a bit rich for us and it might be a bit too expensive, when it's 350 grand a week or whatever it is.
Take him on loan.
That's out of our range. However, I did say on 606, I can't see a better place for a player like him to come and reinvigorate, reinvent himself, find that spark that he had before that he's lost. So I don't think so for us, not right now. But I hope he gets a team like ours that he can be involved with rather than feeling a bit part in, because that's what he needs to reinvent himself. 100%. It's happened with other players, and why not him?
I think the thing is as well is Rashford would go straight up against Callum Hudson-Odoi, not Elanga. So take all the numbers out of it. I'd rather have Callum Hudson-Odoi on the left, because that's his position. You asked me about Elanga, I'd probably edge Rashford taking the numbers out of it. But, he is a good player, but I wouldn't dislodge Hudson-Odoi for very many at the moment because I think he's found the consistency that I'm looking for Elanga. He is very consistent, and it's not just his goal scoring and his assist. It's his keeping hold of the ball, not throwing aimless crosses in. He's got that stereotypical goal he scores, and it doesn't happen all the time. But when he tries it, it comes off. He doesn't get many opportunities for the amount of goals he scores like that. He doesn't get the same opportunity, but it seems to be when that opportunity presents itself, where he can beat his man and cut in, he's done it. We've not seen that sort of consistency from Rashford at United or Elanga at Forest, and that's where I think there's a difference in. So I probably wouldn't take him on that basis because Rashford is always going to play off the left.
Let's talk about, because I don't know if he was at the ground. Matt Sells has got a new song now. I would tell Des to sing it, but I think he's got the words. But we don't really talk about it.
He's got about 3, hasn't it?
In the middle of the goal, Matt Sells.
Exactly, that's what I thought. I just want to take the piss out of it, Des. But we don't really talk about Matt Sells because he keeps clean sheets and that. And again, he made, how many saves did he make? 2 saves, 3 saves as well, and really good save. I think the second half he made a great save. Did it come out of his head?
It came off his chin, yeah.
It came off his chin.
When it didn't go in, is amazing.
Let's talk about him, Glenn, man, because he was under pressure at the start of the season, but now he's just getting better and better, isn't he?
He was under pressure, and a lot of fans, based actually on last year's performance, if you look at like for like, the number of clean sheets, the number of goals conceded, the number of saves per game, he was right up there with Matt Turner. Matt Turner might have nicked it with 1 more clean sheet. I've got the data somewhere. I can't find it right now. So when you look at the comparison, the only difference is between the two of them, the confidence that Matt Sells last year was giving to our back 4 that didn't have a Milinkovic in it. Milinkovic has made a difference to to Matt Sells, and Matt Sells has made a difference to those two in front, or the four in front, because this season he's got 6 clean sheets now in 17 games. We haven't had a situation like that since the first season when we had 8 clean sheets. So he's well on the way to having a number of, obviously, clean sheets for a keeper is like a goal scorer scoring, isn't it? Scoring a hat trick, and that sort of situation that we need is the confidence it gives, and the opportunity to have a 0-0 game that we then nick, or a 1-0 that we secure and we hold on to, and the way that a really confident keeper that Sells has become and wasn't at the start of the season. Everybody was saying, is it the big Brazilian, or is it someone else? And it seems to have put a line underneath some of the concern that a lot of fans had about whether we would have the need to get in a keeper over the summer. That conversation seems to have ended, partly as a result of the way that our defenders have helped Sells not have a situation where he's had to make that many saves. And when he does have to make saves, he's making some real quality decisions. He's setting his feet really well, particularly yesterday, where Morata had that slight issue that brought the ball across, and he had made that double-handed save right down to his right after about 15-20 minutes. And if that goes in, like Des was saying, it's a different game. We scored first because he held on to that save and went in at half-time 1-0 up. And the game then seems to be very difficult for the opposition. And like you were saying earlier on, Des, the longer we can hold on to games and hold on to leads as a result of Sells playing really well in defending his goal and not having a lot more to do beyond the crosses. And the number of crosses coming in yesterday seemed to be fewer and fewer. And the way that the Milinkovic and Morata and Murillo defensive three were holding off and deflecting all the balls away gives Sells very little to do in that respect. But when he does pull off a save, he pulled off a save beautifully in that first half, and 2 in the second half. One was point blank and one was right at him. How it managed to just glance off his cheek. And that was a situation where I thought he'd been kicked, but actually the ball had hit him. So Sells is proving to us, and I think I'm going to add him to the list of other players that is making a big difference to their career this year as a result of the collective, consistent nature of the 11 or 12. Dominguez not being selected yesterday, and obviously now he's got 5 bookings, won't be available to be selected, will he, for one game? He's suspended for one game. But with the exception of the other 11, Sells is that obviously the first keeper and only keeper on the team sheet right now.
Do you remember people used to talk about because Sells wasn't playing great, bringing Miguel in, and you can't.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like
so Miguel will play against Luton in the cup, won't he? Right,
5-3, 5-3, 5-3, Slanky.
But Sells is proving to be the number one keeper, and is starting to. Well, I don't know of anybody, and maybe say in the comments if you still think that we're looking for another keeper, because at the start of the season we were still unsure as to how he would play, and he certainly seemed to be proving all of the doubters wrong with the consistent nature of his games. He's only, I'll only say the only bad situation, the only negative thing about this season so far is those 2 6-minute periods at the Amex where the free kick. The free kick went in, and he could have done better there. With the exception of that game, he's okay. And the near easy goal at Anfield that he managed to bring out with his elbow, if you remember. With the exception of that, he's playing the best football of his life at the right time for us, because so many other players around him are also having their best season ever. And that's the collective nature of why Forest are 4th at the moment, is that we're not a team of superstars, but individually we're 8 out of 10 every week, and that's exactly what we want to be.
100%. Right, I'm gonna ask the tough questions to Des and Glenn, and people in the chat get involved as well, because at the start of the season, everyone had the predictions on where Forest will finish at the start. So I'm going to push the Ember a little bit because we are fourth in the league, and it's only us we can lose it. I think it was on TalkSport. O'Hara
6-3. 6-3.
6-3. Bloody hell, great. Can we get Champions League football? Because we can talk about Europa football, conference football, but in the chat, be honest. Where did you say Forest will finish at the start of the season? Des, where did you say Forest will finish?
17th.
Freaking hell. Glenn, where did you say Forest will finish?
I think I said 15th.
Okay, all right. Then. I said 15th, I think. 15th, I said. I don't know. I'll look back on it. So people in the chat, has your mind changed now? Because we're fourth in the league. Just remember, we're fourth in the Premier League. We're above Man City. Des, I'm going to ask you now. And people in the chat get involved. Where did we Forest finish now?
I said a couple of weeks ago after we beat United, and then looking at the table, below United basically is West Ham, Everton, Crystal Palace, Wolves, all the teams. There's not a chance we can finish below 13th this season. There is not a chance in my mind. We are better than, and not just on form. When you break it down in any which way you want to, whether it's individuals, team structure, whatever, there's no way we can finish below where United are on the table. I also said United might finish above us, which I'm quickly having to.
Wait. Yes. You said it. Wait, people. Last week.
I'm happy to say I'm wrong.
No. Last week he said Man U's going to finish.
It's not over yet, is it? So
it's not over yet.
Crowing until
No.
Over.
I'm calling you out, Des. You're not getting away with it, Des.
I just called myself out, so you're not calling me out, are you?
I'm trying to.
Because I also said,
Des, if you understand it, I'm trying to get the chat just to call you out. That's what I'm trying to do. People
call myself out, so I did.
Oh, days. I think he's crashed. Because they even the chat has crashed Des out. I don't understand why.
I'm back.
He's back. Go on, Des.
Yeah, no, basically, I'm starting to think, because United are that bad. I didn't, even when we beat them, I didn't realise they were that bad, But it still might happen. I still, through all of it, and I'm not being negative, I see Forest having a patch where it's a struggle. It's the Premier League. It's tough. Just because we beat Liverpool and Man U and got points at Chelsea and Brighton and places like that, just because we've beaten them away, it doesn't make it easy at home. We've still got to play these teams, and it's going to be tough. However, I've just mentioned the next 3 games. I think there's points available. And all I'm enjoying at the moment on a game-by-game basis is believing that we can win or we can get something. I think most Forest fans yesterday, being realistic about the Premier League, said we take a draw. I never like admitting I'd ever draw at Brentford or places like that, because I think Forest a bigger club, and whether it's just historically or whatever, I think we should be going to places like that and winning every time. But we'd have taken a point, realistically. It would have been a good result, It would have put another one on the board. I just believe now, like I mentioned, those 3 games, we're going in thinking, why can't we win? Why can't we take 9 points out of the next 3? I'm not saying we will, because the Premier League's not that simple, is it? Fulham have dropped points today to Southampton. It happens. West Ham had 31 shots against Leicester and got beat 3-1. And that's football. That's the way it works. Forest actually got outplayed in a lot of that game yesterday, but won 2-0. But that's what gives me even more hope that all we have to do now, and I know for the purpose of the podcast and the conversation, and for you to throw me under the bus at some point,
I would never do that, Des. I'm just saying what you did last week.
We've got to talk about it. We've got to talk about it. But it's just enjoyable thinking the next block of games. We'll have a spell after that where they get tougher again. We've got Liverpool at home. We've got Bournemouth away, who are up there in the top 6. As much as you'd think, we can go and get something there. And that's winnable. You've got to be realistic about where everyone's at. So I just think, the team is at times it's not been brilliant collectively. Let's not, just because we're in a great bit of form, it's not been brilliant for weeks and weeks and weeks. What it is brilliant is individually, like Glenn says, like I said at the start, the players are playing 8 every week. You can't really call anyone out for a bad season. If you were struggling, and I've touched on it slightly, Elanga, is the only one who's probably up and down a little bit, where everybody else is consistent 8s. Consistent 8s, if not higher. Put it Milenkovic last week, Murillo this week. Matt Sells, and all these players are collectively. What we've got to expect at some point in the season is a bit of a drop off. Because most teams go through it. City are in the worst drop off we've ever seen from them. United are struggling. Chelsea have had a bit of a dip early on and come good, and all those things. So Forest will get beat. So all I'm thinking now, I think the points at the moment, or what we've achieved, almost guarantees top half, even with a big drop off. Because these teams between us. I watched Darren Fletcher on another podcast, and he talks a lot of the time about how many teams are between you rather than the actual points, because they've got to get points. They've got to sort of drop points and earn points off each other. So, like now, we're 9 points above. We're 9 points above United. That's not going to take 3 games for United to get in front of us. That could take about 12 games.
Does that mean Man United still going to finish above Forest, Glenn? Des, just what I say that. Does that mean Man U still finish? Will Man U finish above Forest? Just for
No, I'm saying to the contrary. If you're listening to what I'm saying,
no, I'm listening. I'm just trying to catch you.
Because basically, what I'm saying is, United aren't going to win 3 games and be above.
I know.
Forest.
I'm just saying.
9 points doesn't work like that, because Forest will probably pick up points. United probably won't win 3 games in the spin. It takes a long time to make up that difference. When people were talking about, like, oh, I'm still looking at Ipswich and Leicester early on in the season. No, they're long gone. They're absolutely long gone, because they ain't getting the points. People saying, oh, we've got 31 points now. We're safe. We were safe weeks ago. We've played 17 games. We've got 21 games to earn whatever amount of points. And again, someone else somewhere on a different podcast is counting down the points to what's almost guaranteed a European spot. 10 wins. Tweeted it today. 10 wins. That's doable. That's absolutely doable. In 21
we got 9
games,
from 17. 9 wins from 17.
9 from 17, and we're looking at 10 from 21. We've still got to play for all that dip off I'm talking about. For all that, we're going to have injuries. We're going to have players drop out of form, that kind of thing. We've still got very winnable games, as though nothing's guaranteed. We're going to pick up big results still. We might beat more top teams. We might lose to lower teams. But we've still got the likes of Southampton to come to Forest. We've still got Ipswich to play. We've still got Leicester to come to Forest. So again, you start thinking, oh, if we can get 2 out of the 3 of them, say, it leaves you 8, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, but the beauty of what's happening at the moment, and I think for once in my existence, Forest fans are a little bit more realistic. I think Nuno's approach is pragmatic, and I think it's wearing off on us a little bit. In the fact that we know we've got to fight hard for these points, so we're just grateful for what's coming. I think, getting to the answer of your question, I think we will finish 7th.
I'll take that.
I think we'll finish 7th because
people in the chat.
we're not going away, are we?
Huh?
I almost wrote us off, not in the sense that I didn't think we could turn it around. Before the United game, I was saying this could escalate into something not so good. We played poorly against Ipswich. We got beat by Arsenal and City. Then we'll face 3 games where we've took 9 points, which I never expected.
Mad,
in a
isn't
million years.
Mad.
So you never know, do you? But to get that, it's not a fluke now, is it? 17 games is not a fluke. And we all remember when Leicester won it. It was they were just kept saying they were gonna fail, they were gonna drop off, it was gonna burst. Let's be honest, and this season reminds me a bit of that Leicester season. Some of the teams are in a bit of a transitional period. You know, it feels like City are like transitioning a little bit, injuries. Tottenham, you know, are transitioning. United are obviously in the biggest transition ever because they're terrible. So it feels like a poor Premier League season by that standard, but that's not our fault. That's
No.
not something we've got to be too concerned about. We can only win the football matches in front of us. Do you know, you've seen Brighton and Villa really exceed in the last couple of seasons, and perhaps they're feeling the effects of that, do you know, and the European football and that kind of thing. So it's almost as if right now everything's aligning, you know, for us. The signings are brilliant. You know, we've managed to keep a settled team. You know, Nuno's picking a team based on selection rather than based on necessity. Spurs today have got Archie Gray and Jed Spence playing at the back. That wouldn't happen, you know, if they had a choice. So again, everything's working out well. It's when that little bit of adversity comes in. What we've been brilliant at so far, and every single test that's been thrown at Nuno or Matt Sells or Aina or Elanga, they come out of it. You know, Elanga was a classic example yesterday, wasn't he? Not playing well, gets the winning goal. You know, nothing else really matters. And I think all we have to do now is just keep chipping away, accept the defeats, not accept them, not sort of jump up and down and rave, but you sort of accept it's going to happen and not lose the confidence. Because again, always talk about it. Confidence takes you a long way in football.
100%.
Really does. It takes you a long way. And that Man United Spurs game showing you that the other day when Spurs were cruising and then they conceded a goal by their own fault and the confidence just went and it looked like they were going to lose 4-3. They managed to break up and score one. But again, this is what happens through periods of the season. And right now, you know, the way Murillo, it's that first time pass to Hudson-Odoi in the second half because we're 2-0 up. He doesn't hit that pass when we're 0-0 because he's worried about giving the ball away. You know, at 2-0. And this is what develops over a season. And you'll start seeing the real cream rise to the top. And that's what's happening with Forest. Very, very talented individuals. You know, they're all playing absolutely fantastic. So I actually believe anything's possible. I genuinely do now. I believe top four is possible.
So you're staying with 7th now, yeah?
I'm saying 7th. I believe top 4 is possible.
No, you can't stick there. No, Des, you can't say 7th and say top 4 is possible. You got to stick with one thing.
Why
7th,
can't you say that?
No, you can't. You can't. People in the chat, you can't just say 7th. You think a top 4 is possible. You say Forest will be in the top 4 or stick with 7th. So 7th.
I think realistically we will finish 7th.
Okay,
but I think top 4 is possible because if these other teams don't pick up, you know, we're going to keep we're going to keep moving away from them. All I'm seeing at the moment, when we played City, City was above us. We're 4 points in front of them. How has that happened in
Mad, isn't it? Mad.
in a couple of weeks?
Before I get Glenn, because I want Glenn to be honest where he was. Eve, I saw your message. Good evening, Mr. Dore, Des and Glenn. Sorry I've turned up late. I've been eating my dinner. I'm so glad we won yesterday. I hope all 3 of you have a good Christmas, and I'll see you 3 and 2025. Eve, I hope you enjoy your dinner, and I'll see you 2025. Whatever game that you will and you care will be there. So Eve, hope you have a great Christmas as well. Little B said, Man U will do whatever necessary to remain 13th for the longest time possible. In one record, they still have their eyes on. Yeah, I get that. Paul, my Birmingham friend, hope Dore, hope you're well. Hope you're well, friend. Let's go, Mr. Dore. I'm proud of the season so far. I have to say, if we qualify this Europe, I will be disappointed. Yes, 100%. That's why everyone's going to get the passports out because I'm buzzing. If we don't, I'll say man after where I think we're forced to finish before getting ends. I say 10th, top flop. Listen, you're doing what Des just said, Mark. Stop doing what Des just said. No, you stick with one position and that's it. So stop doing what Des says and that. And Kay says, crazy season, love it though. I know it's crazy season.
Dore, let me break that down.
No, you're not breaking it down, Glenn.
Let me break that down.
No. You're not trying. No.
What we're saying is, if everybody remains fit and well and confident, we've got a chance of staying where we are.
You said 7th.
The likelihood over a season is to lose players for whatever reason, suspensions, injuries, form, and that a realistic approach says that's where we'll finish. But the way we're playing, and with all those players playing at the level they are, there's possibility they can do top 4.
He said 7th, so he's sticking with 7th. So yes, Des.
I'm sticking with 7th.
He's sticking with 7th. Glenn, what are you thinking? You're not right, Glenn. Don't do a Des or don't do a Mark.
Okay, so you want me to give you a number and then explain why?
Explain me why.
Okay, I'm saying 6th, and I'm saying 6th based on, and there's a caveat with this. You're right. Injuries are a concern. We've lost Dominguez for the next game due to suspension. We've got 3 more players. We've got Gibbs White, Williams, and Yates on 4 bookings. Elliot Anderson, Murillo, who's got a booking yesterday for nothing. If you remember, Murillo, Elliot Anderson, Jota Silva are all on 3 bookings. So those bookings can add up to key players in set positions potentially being out at the same time on a suspension. So this is the caveat I'm going to say. They can stay fit, and if they can all stay out of a suspension, the second half of the season is looking really positive. It's looking really positive. Lil B also made this point. We're playing teams that we played away from home, Liverpool, City, Chelsea, United, at our place for the second half of the season. With the exception of Spurs, who obviously we haven't played yet, there's that group of teams that are more challenging and more difficult to play potentially at home. And when we've gone away to their place, we've got more than we expect out of the game, with the exception of the Emirates and the Etihad, like you said, Des, where we got very little. We got a point at Stamford Bridge. We got 3 points at Anfield. We got 3 points at Old Trafford. So we are arguably up on that. We're also going into a situation where our Premier League players of the last 2.5 seasons have never been before. They've never been in a situation where they've been Premier League players for another season because of our point score already and confident that they're going to stay up. The last 2 seasons, Arsenal at home, Taiwo Awoniyi scores, and then we have a party at Selhurst Park. Right?
Oh, that was funny.
Last season, until we won at Burnley, we weren't guaranteed to stay up. This season, we're guaranteed to stay up. I think, like you said, Des, after the win at Old Trafford. From then on, it changes the mindset of these players who are no longer trying to push for survival. Now it's a situation of where can we finish? What can we do? And that's going to change the way they train. It's going to change the way they play, and it's going to change the way they perform. And they're going to get more points per game out of it because they're going into games not concerning about losing the games and it being career defining or club defining, future club defining. It's going to be a situation now where they're going to be going in saying, how many points can we get? And if we can get 2 points a game on average, like you said, there's 10 wins out of 21. That's the difference between finishing top 5 and a 10th. We've got to manage that situation though. I still think, and I'm going to stay 6th because why not? 15th and up to 6th, why not? I still think there's a situation where over the period of the next 10 games, something significant might happen, which might make the last 10 games a bit tricky. But at no point am I going to be concerned about going down or finishing the 4th position. I will finish by saying I don't think not getting to Europe is going to be seen as a disappointment because we're staying in the Premier League. We're playing extremely well. We're winning historical football games. We're winning away at Anfield and Old Trafford for the first time in our existence. And those sorts of things, Rads is saying, just as a younger person in this sort of situation, being a Forest fan of all these years, how amazing it is. We remember it from back in the 90s, right? And we're reliving the dream again. And this dream can continue for as long as it wants, as far as I'm concerned. And I don't for a moment think it's a disappointment if we don't get to Europe, although I hope we get something really, really cherry on the cake at the end of May.
Glenn, do you know what's just dawned on me there as well in all what we're saying about where we can potentially finish? looking back now, that Ipswich game was probably so important. It was when it was. Do you know, like last season, we started with that horrendous run at the big. Started with an horrendous run of fixtures for a team that had struggled the previous year. The Ipswich game, we were a little bit out of form at that point. We weren't playing the way we are. We weren't sort of controlling games in our way. But we needed that, you know, at that point after the Arsenal game to prove that we weren't in a slump, to prove it was Arsenal who beat us, who were world class on the day, you know, and then we got City. Imagine if you had Arsenal, City, United, we might not have then bounced back after those, because then all of a sudden, 2 games, and then you're worrying about the third. So I've not looked too much at the second half fixtures and how they run. But for the purpose of what we're saying, though, ultimately, if we do get on a bad run, I don't see us having this long slump, which I probably envisaged at some point earlier in the
And it's going to
season.
come. It's going to come. It's going to come.
Yeah, we'll have a slump and we'll lose football matches, but I don't see us earlier in the season. I thought there might be an 8-9 game spell where we didn't get many. And like Glenn said, there's still the possibility that lose 1 or 2 players in key areas.
Yeah.
It's possible. But I think these next 3 fixtures will tell us so much now. Just talking it through, I had no preconception. These next 3 fixtures, Tottenham, who are a basket case at the moment, you know, got no players. Everton, I believe we should go there and win now. I'm not saying we will. I believe we
Got
should.
to win.
Wolves, again, all over the place at the back. You know,
We managed to
fighting
bounce though,
amongst
Des. We
themselves.
managed to bounce with Wolves. Was it 4-0?
Might do, but that was Leicester. I'm not even counting that. Right?
True.
They're fighting each other. They're conceding goals from corners like you wouldn't believe. You know, and you think, right, if we get 7 from that, we'll be on 38 points after 20 games. You know, 38 points after 20 games, and that's 2 of those wins. That leaves 8 from 18. You know, and again, you look at those teams, and if they fall nicely for us, you know, perhaps when we've been beat by again, I'm not saying when, but if we get beat by Liverpool at home, you'd want to follow it up with a confidence boost in Southampton or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's when you get on that run, and that's why I'm saying confidence and what's happening on with the players gives us every opportunity to see it through. And all Leicester ever did was play 1 game at a time. You know, I remember they played Liverpool at one point. I thought this is where they're going to come unstuck, and they won 2-0, and all of a sudden it's a big statement. You know, and then later in the season, what really makes a difference is when the points get a little bit stretched. Now you look, there's 3 points between us and the team below us. So yes, our goal difference is not so great, but they've got to win 2 football matches to get above us now. And again, as the games start ticking off, it becomes that little bit more impossible. And Glenn made the point, and I've made it over the last several weeks. Nuno can change his tactics now to suit. Do you know, it's not about staying up. Do you know, once he gets to a point where he feels like, and the owner is going to be instructing him to win football matches. You know, he's not going to be saying the owner will probably rather get beat 4-0 than sort of lose a pragmatic game 1-0 towards the end of the season. If we're pushing for something, he's going to want us to sort of be going for it. Forget the £1 or £2 million prize money, you know, for league places. And again, the whole thing changes. And with the Premier League not being quite so strong, Forest got every chance of really doing something this season. And I'm not that person to say that. I'm normally the most realistic of, you know,
all
this
the
is where
time.
we're at.
All the time. You changed, Jazz, Des. I think you changed. You changed, but in a good way.
I'm a bit giddy from 3 wins on the spin.
Yeah, we've done that before, haven't we? Didn't we?
We've done it this season, but
we've
we've
done it,
not done
with
it very often, have
Leicester.
we?
Was it Leicester? I don't know. What Leicester, Palace, and someone
West
else?
Ham.
Let's
West
Palace,
Ham.
West Ham.
Bloody hell! Isn't it
Yeah, but
amazing?
look at those 3 fixtures: Palace, Leicester, West Ham, and look at the last 3 fixtures: Man United away, Villa at home, and Brentford away. You know,
Better
there's a
teams.
difference.
Yeah.
So anyone who
Yeah.
says, "Oh, it's a fluke," we've done that twice now. The first one, you could say, you played a very poor West Ham. You know, you played Leicester, who were terrible, and Palace can't hit at barn door. You know, that could be a fluke. You start repeating it, and you're becoming consistent. And consistency, you can't argue with. You can't argue with consistency. And Forest have become that consistent side who are adaptable to a situation. I don't see many teams in the Premier League that are adaptable to a situation. Tottenham can't adapt their game because of what's happening with that back four, you know, and that's the problem. We are now in control of our destiny, it feels.
100%. Before we do go, because we're going over the hour mark, there's one question I might ask Glenn, because we always think about plan A, plan B, plan C, blah blah, and that's why I love about Nuno. But with Anderson and Gibbs White, it was in that role yesterday, Glenn. Would you do that again? Because we know Yates and Dominguez were not playing this game. Would you do that again with?
I would. I would, and it was really interesting. There was a certain point I was turning to Welsh Steve and saying that wherever we had the ball, there was one or both of them in support of it, and that was a really positive thing, and must be giving the back three, particularly Mata, a load of confidence when they've got possession. They can pass out to wing backs or pass to one of those two in the slot there. They were pivoting through, and like you said, Hudson-Odoi getting that one first time pass from Elliot Anderson, and it puts us on that attack again. The one thing that Morgan was talking to the back three about, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's a little bit of a result of not playing like that before and not having a Dominguez or not having a Yates in there, is that there was a point where when they had possession for a certain length of time, and they had 65% of the ball yesterday, Brentford, where we looked like we were missing a player, and obviously we were. They were just reshaped, and we didn't have another defender, didn't have another midfield in there to offer on. So yeah, I think the pair of them played really well. They worked their socks off, and it wouldn't surprise me that they played 70 minutes. Elliot Anderson looked absolutely done, because he was everywhere again, and when was supporting the wing backs, and when the wing backs were going 1v1, he was nicking the ball on a 2v1 and turning us forward. So he played extremely well between the pair of them. I think it worked. In the situation of the back five, I wouldn't want to have anyone else as a two in front of them. I think the pair of them work really well together. They complement each other, and they're working really sensibly together in terms of knowing exactly what each of the strengths are, and they know what what they can do as a collective in through there. So I would rather have them two than a Yates and a Dominguez, although when they came on, they did a job as well at that critical time where we needed to hold on to the ball a little bit better and nullify some of their attacks in Brentford's sort of the hour mark onwards. But the pair of them work really well together, and I think that's something that we can definitely get them connected, because we're all looking, aren't we, to how we can get both of them on the field at the same time, and it works better in a back five with those two in the slot as a pivot than passing the ball forward or picking a ball up from Morata and Milo and Marinkovic. So yeah, I'd certainly have that again. They just have to stay fit, and they have to stay, like I said, both of them are on 3 or 4 bookings each. So those sorts of things, those sorts of things are going to need to be a situation where we bide our time a little bit. But equally, I don't think being on a booking or having 4 and Yates is one. Well, he could have had a couple of situations.
He could have had a couple yesterday.
Where that, and I'm quite a romantic in that respect. I think that record is important, and I want to try and have that player who's come through the ranks in our squad, and I'd like that situation to carry on. But to answer your question, I think the pair of them played really well. They're playing better and better as a pair, and they make us better because they set that back five. They reassure them when they've got the ball, those short passes, and they're passing then as those passing lanes on the wings to Elanga and Gibbs White, and then, like you said, passing forward to Wood and being a pivot in that midfield and playing as a pair really well together. So yeah, the more they play, the better in that respect. In that formation, anyway, I can see a case for Dominguez coming in as another midfielder, but in that back five, I think they are the best and obvious to sit in front of them.
100%. Right, before we do go, people, I want to get everyone's man of the match, but I think I've got Dez's anyway, because he said at the start of the show. But Des, have you changed your mind an hour ago? Who's man of the match?
No, I've not changed my mind. But obviously, because I had said that, it's probably worth me mentioning one or two others, for the sake of what we're doing. Murillo, again, I've been talking to Glenn for weeks about Murillo, and how I think he is Forest Player of the Season. I think he's a victim of Milenkovic's success. I think Milenkovic has been fantastic. One of the signings of the season. Everyone says he's the best signing ever until you think of Aina, until you think of Anderson.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you can't make your mind up. Honestly, incredible Milenkovic. But what Murillo is doing, and it's going a little bit unnoticed, is incredible. These top teams will be looking at him, thinking, "We want this guy in our team." And look, the more we get out of him, the better. Because the guy in a good team, he's just going to be an incredible footballer. I do you know what I said yesterday? I'll go one step further with Murillo. I can see him winning the Ballon d'Or.
Oh, someone clip this. Someone clip
Flip it
this.
now. Right?
What?
When you see a player, like,
When did a Fender last win the Ballon d'Or?
Um,
Wow.
look, it's a big call, isn't it? But this
No,
is
I'm
what
not.
we're
I'm
here
not saying I
for.
disagree.
I'm not saying you
Right.
disagree there. I'm just saying that's a big ask.
It's a big, big ask, but genuinely, right? I look around the Premier League, I don't see a player like him. I really don't. They talk
His
about Van
passing was
Dijk
fantastic. Man.
in his prime,
His passing was fantastic yesterday as well, though. To be fair, really good.
eh? But that's what I'm saying. They talk
Yeah.
about Van Dijk and Rio Ferdinand in the prime. This guy's actually defending first, but he can pass. He can run with the ball. We
First
know he
half,
can.
that
He can
breakout
have a hit.
that breakout of our lines in the first half.
Oh, he could have
Made
And
us
scored.
yeah, whoever
beautiful.
made that comment that these teams can piss off, absolutely. But can you imagine him in Real Madrid's team playing on the halfway line?
Bloody hell.
Seriously, and it could be that guy who pops up with 10 goals or something a season in a
But
team like
do you
that.
remember what's his name? What's that Brazilian player's name? Lucio. He used to play for Bayer
Yeah,
Leverkusen. Someone
yeah,
like him. Yeah,
yes.
someone like him.
And,
Yeah.
and yes, it's a big call. It's a big call, and it's hard, like Glenn says, for a defender to win it because it's always going to go to attacking players. But seriously, we've got our hands on an absolute superstar. He's learning. He's 21. I think we forget that, don't we? He's 21. He's obviously got things going off in his personal life, which he's happy. You can see that. I think just today he's had a baby reveal at the
Yeah,
City ground, hasn't he?
he's having a girl. Good luck, girls
Yeah.
are expensive, Murillo.
But beyond all that, and the whatever baby showers are about these days, what a sort of connection and what a feel good thing that's going on there. Do you know what I mean? And what like to have this guy who's being touted as the next best thing, and for him to be as heavily involved with things like that, and it's just amazing. Honestly, I think he's the one going under the radar when people talk about Milenkovic. They're not doing it on purpose, but I think it does a little bit of a disservice to Murillo because I think he's been absolutely outstanding. And yesterday, football people, and we got a text from David Phillips, didn't we?
Shout out to
Saying
David Phillips. Shout out to David Phillips.
Murillo, like I was pleased because I'd said it on my little thing, and then he sort of reaffirmed it for me. Murillo was outstanding. And that's the thing that football people will see what he's doing on a week by week, and it might not be the what we've not seen from Milenkovic. It's what they're seeing from Murillo, and that's why for me, that's why it was a tactical masterclass. That's why he was man of the match because even though it started a bit shaky, they believed in the process. And it really brought the best out in Murillo for me, playing in that formation again. It's an option. I don't think we'll play that formation much. The reason we played it is because Brentford get the ball in the box at every single opportunity,
Yeah,
and those
yeah.
three players, and even Damsgaard to some extent, don't defend. If you actually watch it, they don't defend. They don't run back. They just get amongst you, leave the ball, get the ball forward to them as quickly as they can. So I don't think we play a free very often. But now it's a real string to our bow. A string to our bow. Glenn mentioned about Yates and Dominguez not playing. They will play because he's proved he won't he won't just stick with a winning team for the sake of it. You know, he'll play a team that he feels will get the result. I think games like Everton, you might see something else. You know, you might see.
You read this, Des. I bet you were pleased we've had a selfie with a future Ballon d'Or. Don't, you know when you see him, just give him a good slap. Not a good slap, just. I know you had a good time last night, Dawn, and yeah, okay, but Ballon d'Or winner, bloody hell, that's getting clipped. That I'm clipping that. That is getting clipped. Another guy that
I wonder what odds we can get on it.
Hi Ben, hi Des, hi Glenn. Long time no see. Have a good one, lads. David, so happy you didn't say something about Des, something about positive about Des, because it is what it is. And Ian as well. Really was unbelievable yesterday. Definitely man of the match. Ian, you just saying that because Des said that. Just say something different. Say something different. Shout out to Ian as well. Good seeing yesterday. Glenn, who's your man of the match?
I agree with Ian and Des. In fact, I haven't done this since I was about 12.
Oh!
Because I don't think he'll wear next season's shirt. I have a feeling.
Oh,
so I did it. My brother got it for Christmas for me.
Oh,
we managed to find it in the club shop, half price.
Oh, great.
So yeah, I've got his number on the back of my shirt, and yeah, I don't think he'll be a Forest player next season, unless we are in a position to offer them Champions League football. Obviously, that may well change the situation.
Do you know, I saw that, Glenn, in the club shop, Murillo 5, and that's what made me start thinking about, like, just I saw it hanging up on the rail, and I just thought exactly what you thought there. Do you know, it looks great. It looks great, Murillo 5, and that's what started getting me thinking about Ballon d'Or and things like that.
He's getting clipped, people. I don't care. Right, yeah. my man of the match. You know what? I think it's Murillo. Murillo.
Are you just saying that because Glenn, Ian, and Des?
I want someone to give me some praise in the bloody chat. Why is everyone else giving? Give me some praise.
Say someone else.
No, everyone played fantastic. I think. Like
out there.
Huh?
If it wasn't, I'd say Sells. Actually, I think he.
I think Ola Aina and Williams were fantastic because like Williams has dealt with what's his name, Beme.
You know what? I'll give you an alternative. My moment of the match, and I get a bit soft, I know, but when at the end when they were singing Matt Sells' name, I don't know.
Oh, here we go.
No, they were singing his name, and he obviously didn't pick it up in the game. He didn't sort of. We sang it a few times. And then at the end, he were walking off. He were walking away to the changing room, and they sang it, and it was all loud and clear. And he realised that he got a song, you know. And me and Kay were talking about this today. How crazy is it that when 3,000 people are singing your name, you know? And he realised, and he turned around and clapped, and you could almost feel like he felt like he's here now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was just a really nice, touching moment. That was my favourite part of it. You know, just seeing him sort of penny drop. You know, they appreciate me, and it was such a nice thing. He just turned around, and you could see, like, even though you couldn't really see, you could tell he was smiling from ear to ear, and I just really enjoyed that.
People, if you see the video of Des and Ian singing go on Des's Instagram, him singing a song. Ian, you are shocking. I'm saying that.
He's not doing well, bless him.
No, I don't care. He's not getting away with it. He wore that big bubble hat, Dudela hat, and he's not getting away with it. Ian, you were shocking. But Des was all right. Des was okay. Right, people, thank you very much for everyone taking part as well. Like I said, Forest are fourth. We're happy. Everyone's happy. With Champions League football, Murillo's going to get Ballon d'Or. And
show me the way to Barcelona.
Show the way to Barcelona. But yeah, people, I hope everyone has a fantastic Christmas, man. It's like it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Like 12 months ago, where was we in the league? Where was we in the league 12 months ago? Can everyone remember?
I'm just disappointed Spurs have put a dent in our title hopes by rolling over for Liverpool.
Thanks, Spurs.
After 19 games last year, we were 17th. We had the away win against. It was the Boxing Day game, Dore.
Boxing Day again, Newcastle. Wasn't it? Yeah, Newcastle.
We were 17th.
Wow, unbelievable.
-12 goal difference.
Wow, unbelievable! Can't believe it. Now we're fourth. We're talking about Champions League football or European
How many
football.
points did we have, Glenn?
We had 17.
Bloody hell, that's amazing, isn't it? Absolutely
So,
amazing.
yeah.
But people, it's been a great show, man. And like I said, I hope everyone has a fantastic Christmas. And I think I'm doing a video with a Spurs fan, Chris Cowley, on Christmas Eve. So watch out for that. But yeah, fourth
One
place.
more thing, Dore. How good is it to argue about how good we're going to be?
It's so good, isn't
about how good we're going to be.
it? We were like, how many points away from Liverpool? We're like
8
points. See, we're 8 points away from the top league. So Liverpool fans, just keep it warm for us. We'll be there soon. We'll be there soon. We're on, I think I put something on my Instagram. We're on a title charge, so don't worry about people. We're on a title charge, and yeah, it's been a pleasure, people. But people, before you do, watch out for my vlog as well. Make sure everyone follows Des and Glenn on Instagram, and make sure Des is singing Cell Song. So it was shocking. 1 out of 10, I'll give it. So. But yeah, people, it's been a pleasure. Like I said, I hope everyone, like I said again, has a fantastic Christmas. I'll be back Tuesday for the review show with Chris Cowley, Spurs fan, top guy as well. But he might be depressed because Spurs have been shocking. But yeah, it's been a pleasure. I hope everyone has a fantastic Christmas. Make sure you do watch my vlog. It's been a pleasure. We're 4th place. We're going for the title. Peace and love. One more glow. I'm trying to be positive.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? I'm not. It's just unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. We're Dream World, people. Peace, love, people, and up the bloody forest.